So this Smoky peaty release is the first core range whiskey from Islay's newest distillery. But is the Ardnahoe Infinite Loch worth grabbing? We're going to find out today. I'm Jeff. This is Gwhisky. Stick around. So we're looking at an Ardnahoe today. As I said, this is Islay's newest distillery. They only got started back in 2019. Since then, they have put out a handful of releases, and pretty much all of them have been well received. I reviewed their first release last year, their inaugural 5-year-old, and I really liked it. I gave it an 87. Probably by the end of the bottle, I would have dropped that down to an 86, but whatever, moment in time. Point is, it was excellent, and I do recommend it. So obviously, I was very interested in trying more stuff from them. Since that initial 5-year-old release, they have put out a few bottles, the first of which was this one right here. As I said, this one is core range, called the Infinite Loch, and it's no age stated. Since then, they put out another core range. That one's called the Bolsa. Right now, there's a bunch of limited edition 6-year-olds floating around on the market. But for me, so far, my only reference is that initial 5-year-old, and it set the bar pretty high. For maturation, 85% of the maturation here happened in first fill bourbon casks. The remaining 15% were matured in first fill sherry casks of the Oloroso variety. This one came out last year in September of 2024, and as I said earlier, it's been well received. Everything from this brand so far has been well received. I would argue they've already pretty much won over the enthusiast crowd. And honestly, for good reason. Ardnahoe is part of that new wave of modern distilleries that are very transparent. They're doing things right. Their whiskeys are craft. And one of the big selling points for me with this brand is that they use worm tubs, which is one of my favorite methods of production. Basically, it's a copper condenser that converts the vapors back into liquid after distillation. And usually the result of a worm tub is that we have a heavier, weightier spirit, which is just something that I tend to like. It's not a production technique that's very widely used, although there are quite a few distilleries that do use them. Springbank uses them, Craigellachie uses them, Mortlach uses them, but not a lot of these modern new distilleries are opting to go for worm tubs, and the fact that these guys did, I do think is pretty cool. Anyway, I think that is all the intro stuff covered, so let's get into the review. In the meantime, leave a like down below because it does help with the algorithm, and it's just the right thing to do. Okay, this one comes in at 50% ABV, which is great, and like everything out of this brand, it is going to be non-chill filtered and natural color. So well done. For the look of the bottle, it's fine. I don't think the label or the design are that interesting. It's not an aesthetic that I love, but I'm also kind of just whatever, indifferent to it. We'll give it 2.5 out of 5. Luckily, as these guys are a modern and transparent brand, they do tell us that it's non-chill filtered. They tell us that it's natural color. That's all on the label. We don't get the cask breakdown, but we do get some tasting notes on the back. All the crucial information is there. On the nose of this whiskey, we do get some youth. We get a nice smoky twist. We also get some malt, some hay or straw in there. There's some honey, as well as a bit of a salty coastal twist. We also get lemon lime in here. There's some ginger. There's some muesli with some fruits in there, maybe some berries. There is a touch of nuttiness. And of course, no set of tasting notes are complete without vanilla. On the palate and finish, this gives us an oily texture. It is sort of like spicy with white pepper up front. We get smoke, we get soot, we get coal. It does lean slightly industrial. Like if you've ever dined on a 19th century steel mill, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There's also lemon candy, icing sugar on lemon sponge cake, ginger lozenges, herbal lozenges. There's also plenty of salt in here. There's some vanilla. This gives us a medium finish on some mineral notes, as well as lemon lime soda, Sprite type notes. All right, so I'll be honest, when I first cracked this, I didn't love it. I did find it to be a little bit too young, too youthful. But as I am a just and magnanimous reviewer, I put it away, I let it sit for a couple months, open up a little bit, and then came back to it. Actually, that's a lie. I didn't come back to it for a couple months because I didn't love it at first, and I just didn't feel like having it again. But the first thing sounds better. But now that I have given it some time to open up, how do I feel about it now? Well, it is better. It's good. Still, I will start this off by saying that if we're comparing it to that initial 5-year-old release, I did much prefer that one. That one, even at 5 years, did taste substantially older than this one. And as a posh snob who is sensitive to youth and whiskey, this one, even now, still does come off a bit young. It does have some great flavors. The distillate is quality. I love everything about the specs. They're using worm tubs. Ardnahoe is cool. I like what they're doing. But this is one of those bottles where, yeah, I think it's pretty good now. It's perfectly drinkable, sippable, enjoyable, but I think it would be substantially better with more age behind it. Obviously, we do have to keep in mind that this is a very young distillery. As I said, they started in 2019. They don't have aged stock to play with. Their oldest whiskeys are going to be 6 years old. What they're doing is they're trying to bring some money back to the distillery by releasing products that are as good as they can be for now. So, they're doing their best with what they've got. And hats off to them, because what they're putting out now is good. I wouldn't say this is great, but it is very good, and it can go toe-to-toe with a lot of younger Islay whiskeys. For me, though, this brand is less about what they're putting out now and more about the potential they have for the future, because what they'll be releasing down the line, I think, will be nothing short of spectacular. Still, as much as I'm going to glaze the brand and say they're doing everything right, I'm not going to lie to you guys and say that I absolutely love this one. I don't. I think it is very good. I think it's solid given the circumstances, but it lands young. And like a lot of things that are that young, I like it, but I don't feel the need to spend too much time with it. It's like my sister's kids. That said, most whiskeys this young, I'll just write them off completely, and I'm not about to do that with this one. I do actually like it. It's got some things that work for it. I do think it comes off a little bit sweet, but it works. I actually like that vanilla sweetness. I like the lemon lime Sprite note. I like the ginger. I like the sponge cake with icing sugar, and even the smoke. It's distinctive. It's different from other Islay smoke. Now, I have heard people compare this to a young Lagavulin, which I kind of get, but it's a bit of a stretch. Lagavulin goes cleaner than this. This one has more weight to it. Also, I think the fact that there's so many first fill casks in here, that might be obfuscating a little bit. But for me, yeah, maybe a tiny touch of Lagavulin in there, maybe a tiny touch of Laphroaig. But really, it is something that's doing its own thing. For score, I'm going to land on 84 here, but it is a warm 84. It's not my favorite whiskey, but again, so loaded with potential. And what they've done so far, they've done very well. It's just a matter of circumstance that it lands this low. Still worth checking out. I think that if they start using older stock for their future batches, this particular release will only continue to get better. And this is just a brand that people should be keeping an eye on. I definitely will be. If I can find that Bolsa release, I'll definitely grab it. Like I said, there's a few 6-year-old whiskeys floating out there from them. I definitely want to try those as well. Yeah, keep an eye out for these guys. Now, finally, I do want to touch on value, but before we do that, I want to give a quick shout out. If you are a patron, if you are a channel member, if you're supporting me in some way, thank you very much. It is truly appreciated. And if you want to be one of those people, I will link Patreon and PayPal down below. This whole channel is me, the scripting, obviously the shooting, the editing. It's all a one-man show, so any contribution is greatly appreciated. Now, let's see if this is worth the money. So for value, I think this is okay. I think it's good, but not great. This sells for about 70 US in my market. And while it's an enjoyable whiskey, I do think there are better options out there in that price range, especially considering that this is a particularly young whiskey. It tastes young and it's no age stated. So while I will enjoy this bottle, I don't think I'll be coming back to it again unless they start, as I said, using some older stock in there. But a pleasant one-off, we'll put it that way. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will bring us to the end of the video, and this is the part where I send it back to you guys. So have you tried our Infinite Loch here? What other Ardnahoes have you tried? Have you tried the 5-year-old, the Bolsa, any of these 6-year-old releases? Let me know how those are. How would they compare to this one? All of that you can put down below in the comments. Also in the comments, you can maybe let me know what you want to see me review down the line. I'll keep that in mind for my future videos. Bye, guys.